I'm Tessa Iglesias, and coming up, I'll tell you about a WVU professor's research that could help make self-driving cars safer. I'm Courtney Kramer, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you how one local organization is supporting clean water initiatives around the globe.
I'm Connor Schlegel, and straight ahead, find out what a warmer relationship with Russia would mean for the United States. Our Emmy Award-winning WVU News starts now.
Proposed taxes on cigarettes, gas, and even soft drinks. We'll tell you how budget negotiations may affect the Mountain State. I'm CJ Harvey.
And I'm Brianna Parks. A WVU professor's research can help make the technology behind self-driving cars safer.
These stories and more on WVU News, an Emmy Award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students right here at WVU.
Time is ticking. State legislators are looking for a way to offset a $500 million deficit.
And one of the proposed budget cuts will affect students right here at WVU. Matt McNamara found out what the university's plan is to combat these budget cuts.
West Virginia faces a $500 million budget deficit and is looking to save money by hitting the one area that is already hurting the most in the Mountain State: public education.
The first strategy has really been, we need to invest in higher education, and in particular in WVU moving forward. We've already received $29 million in base cuts over the past few years. So that's the first thing, is to really focus on making them know that we're the best investment that the state can make.
The state's total budget is $4.187 billion, and the state plans to cut $400 million, or 1/10 of the total budget. $1.9 billion of the total budget goes to the state's public education.
Another quarter of the state's budget goes to health and human services, and the last quarter goes to everything else, such as roads and transportation.
I know the state's in a hard way, especially with the coal severance tax evaporating over the last year or so. I know that's hurt a lot of municipalities, but I don't think higher education is the place to, or education for that matter, is the place to begin with budget cuts.
Over the past 3 years, WVU has dealt with a nearly $30 million reduction in state funding. Matt McNamara, WVU News, Morgantown.
The regular legislative session ended on Saturday, April 8th, but that didn't stop West Virginia Governor Jim Justice hitting the streets recently on a Save Our State tour. The tour brought him right here to Morgantown, to West Virginia University. The governor spoke to a crowd of hundreds about the state budget and higher education. He also addressed issues like health care, jobs, and infrastructure. Justice says we can, quote, dig ourselves out of this hole without cutting programs like education by following his budget plan, end quote. The governor says stands behind taxing soft drinks and increasing tolls and DMV fees.
Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn is willing to testify before investigators as they search for answers in the alleged Russian election hacks. However, Flynn's request for immunity was denied. But some believe that the investigation isn't necessary and that a healthy relationship between the U.S. and Russia is needed. Connor Schlegel joins us now with more. Connor?
Thanks, CJ and Brianna. The FBI confirmed the investigation of Russian interference, but the Trump administration maintains there was no wrongdoing. Some experts say President Trump represents the best opportunity to improve U.S.-Russia relations in more than 2 decades. I found out what a positive relationship with Russia could mean for the country.
I hope that we get along great with Putin.
The LA Times reports that even Trump's critics admit that improving relations between the U.S. and Russia would be a good thing. President Trump has been complimentary of President Vladimir Putin's leadership skills and critical of the United States' involvement with NATO. WVU political science professor Boris Barkanov says the NATO alliance is important to American security.
NATO is at the heart of European and arguably global security. I think it's actually a very important part of our security strategy.
Professor Barkanov also stated that a warmer relationship towards Russia could benefit NATO allies, as it is one way to avoid future military conflicts.
So the main benefit would be to address this problem in a way that could enhance the security situation.
But WVU student Garrett Burgess, who studies political science and Russian studies, said that it is unclear how a pro-Russian stance would influence the Syrian civil war.
But the big things that Trump is going to face with regards to pro-Russia is how he's going to combat, how he's going to look at Syria now. is a mutual relationship with Russia going to benefit in some way? There's debate for either side.
After recently canceling a scheduled meeting with NATO officials, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has rescheduled to meet in Brussels on March 31st, and in April, he'll visit Moscow to meet with senior members of the Russian government.
After Trump's victory, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that his country was ready and looking forward to restoring bilateral relations with the U.S. and willing and welcome to support any steps in that direction. Brianna and CJ, back to you.
While one issue is far from being resolved, a major victory for Flint residents after a 3-year fight for clean water. A deal approved by a federal judge will force the city of Flint to replace water pipes in up to 18,000 homes.
The cost? Almost $100 million. But many say while this battle was won, the war is far from over, as millions around the globe still struggle to have a basic human necessity, safe fresh water. Courtney Kramer joins us now from Studio B at the Media Innovation Center to tell us more. Courtney?
In just one day, more than 200 million hours of women's time is consumed for the most basic of human needs, collecting water to survive. More than 800 million people around the world do not have access to clean water. That's 1 in every 6 people. But one local organization has made it their mission to support clean water initiatives around the globe. Recently, Amazaji hosted its 10th annual water walk at West Virginia University to walk in solidarity with the millions of people around the world without access to clean water. Participants walked to the Monongahela River to collect buckets of water to give them a sense of the physical experience people go through each day for safe water.
Get to the river and you fill your bucket up to the rim, and then you realize how heavy it is and how much it splashes, and you kind of get even a little bit more appreciation for what that really is. A tiny little bucket that you only fill halfway is nothing compared to the huge jugs and multiple jugs and buckets that women and young girls especially carry every day.
Women and children spend 125 million hours each year collecting water. That amounts to 6 hours of labor each day per person. The water is used for cooking, cleaning, and bathing, things we have right at our fingertips and so often take for granted. But for Detta Kolo Johnson, this event hit close to home. She grew up in Timor, an island on the coast of Indonesia, where walking miles for clean water was a huge part of her daily life.
I was one of the younger ones, so that was our job. So our parents would stay home, cook and stuff, while the younger ones go try to gather water as well as firewood to, make a meal for the family. And we do that in the morning, afternoon, and evening, because obviously you need it for all those, 3 times a day that you eat, you need water. Amazaji supports clean water initiatives in 12 different countries around the world. If you're interested in volunteering for the organization, you can visit the website at the bottom of your screen. Amazaji says each person needs 25 to 50 liters of clean water each day for basic needs such as drinking, cooking, and cleaning. Officials hope events such as this one help raise awareness about clean water initiatives. Back to you at the Waterfront Studio.
Thanks, Courtney, for that report. Now, Back to the Future may have predicted things like drones, tablets, and even a Cubs win, but they were a little off with flying cars.
However, they may be self-driving soon. Tessa Iglesias joins us now from Social Square to tell us about a new development in the journey to autonomous driving. Tessa?
BI Intelligence predicts that there will be as many as 10 million self-driving cars on the roads by 2020. These vehicles would include fully driverless cars, as well as ones that feature self-acceleration, braking, and steering with limited driver interaction. With this climbing increase in autonomous vehicles, one WVU professor is aiming to improve the technology behind autonomous systems. Self-driving cars use computers to navigate the roads. But these cars still have a harder time than humans when it comes to navigating their location. WVU professor Victor Fragoso's research focuses on developing 3D mapping that allows autonomous systems to better understand their surrounding scenes to help them navigate.
So what we're doing here is enabling the computer to have a sixth sense, and this sixth sense is or means that the computer can get a sense of confidence when it has to decide if it's estimating its position right. So it's getting that sense of confidence. And that is important because that can actually save a lot of lives.
Self-driving cars have to recognize certain landmarks in a scene to navigate their location. Getting 3D models of cities will localize these cars by helping them recognize these landmarks and estimating the location of the cameras in the cars. Major companies such as Uber, Google, and Tesla are currently testing self-driving cars. But there's still a long way to go until these vehicles are going to make the roads safer.
I don't think they're ready to be like commercial for people to just buy and use. I still think it's in like a development stage.
Fregoso is using 3D mapping to create models of cities that can be placed in the computers of autonomous systems. This would help cars to understand their position and accurately recognize the same location from different angles. Fregoso received a 2-year grant from the National Science Foundation that starts in September. His research will help improve artificial intelligence to be more confident when it comes to decision making, and will also help to improve image processing applications used to make maps for self-driving cars. Brianna and CJ, back to you.
Thanks, Tessa. Fans will get an early look at the 2017 Mountaineer football team soon, as the preparation for the season has already begun.
Sports reporter Andrew Caridi gives us an exclusive look at the team, coming up next.
I'm Andrew Caridi, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll give you an inside look to the 2017 West Virginia football team.
Ready to go?
Sometimes the most important lessons are learned outside the classroom.
Are we going the right way?
When you chase the unknown, take a risk, and push beyond your boundaries. That's when you discover who you really are. Every journey starts with a first. Let's go.
Spring football has commenced, and the Mountaineers have hit the field in anticipation for the 2017 season.
Sports reporter Andrew Caridi is here to tell us more. Andrew?
Thanks, Brown and CJ. You know, it's safe to say that this era of West Virginia football could really be the start of something special. On the back of 7 conference wins and a second-place finish, the Mountaineers are locked and loaded for a serious run. Familiar faces fill the locker room, and with the return of David Sills and offensive coordinator Jake Spavital, Mountaineer fans are excited to get their first look at the team.
Drizzling rain and muggy air greeted the West Virginia football team as they took to practice amidst the changing spring weather. It's a time for energy, assessment, and preparation for the fast-approaching season.
It's a culture that Coach Holgerson set that now all the guys are expecting. So when they go to practice, they're looking to compete in every drill, looking to finish every drill, and obviously work on the skills that you need in a game-type situation.
It's a season that stands to establish the program among the country's elite. 10 wins last year were the most for the Mountaineers since 2011, when they were still a member of the Big East. New faces and new places might be the best way to describe the West Virginia football team this season. Wide receiver David Sills returns after a year at community college, and offensive coordinator Jake Spavital returns to the Mountaineers after coaching quarterbacks in 2012. The circumstances might be different, but the pride remains the same. No one understands that better than Ona, West Virginia native Reese Donahue.
I knew from the start that this is where I wanted to be, and any in-state player who gets an offer from here or an opportunity to come play here, there's no way they could pass it up, because this is a dream come true and it's more than you could ever expect playing West Virginia.
You can see the team in action on April 15th at the 2017 annual Gold Blue Spring Game. You can get tickets online for $10 at WVUgame.com.
The Mountaineers will face a familiar foe to kick off the regular season. It's WVU and Virginia Tech September 3rd in Landover, Maryland, competing for the Black Diamond Trophy. CJ and Brianna, back to you.
Thanks, Andrew. Hopefully the team can surpass 10 wins this season. That's going to do it for this week's edition of WVU News. You can visit us online on our website.
You can also watch our shows on YouTube, and please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. I'm Brianna Parks.
And I'm CJ Harvey. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.